Welcome to Archangel Revelations and Prophecies 444. I am Gat, your host. All right. You're looking at two natal charts of two individuals that have a lot in common. I'm not going to be able to go more into detail with that per request. But one of the first things I noticed was the Taurus, both Tauruses. One's karmic and the other one's got the Jupiter, which we'll be going more into that. And I do believe the chart on the right is definitely karmic with a type of twin flames relationship. And again, as we go deeper into it, we'll talk about it. And there is a slight chance that both of these gentlemen have a connection to Archangel Gabriel. We'll see. Now remember, in different countries, they may say a different name, but it's still the same energy. So, this is going to be a priestess energy, and the more you understand the priest, if there's a priest, there's a priestess. So this will be like a masculine priest energy, but it'll be a priestess energy as well. And again, we definitely will be dealing with past lives and things of that nature. Just give me a moment. All right, so there's a third chart that I'll be looking at if it calls for it, and that'll be the person who requested this read. All right, first house, gentleman on the left, and he would be the oldest, just so everybody's on the same page. Leo. So Leo at 11 degrees, that's going to be your strength card. Because like I said, with the tarot card, depending on what Rider Waite deck you use, sometimes number 8 card is a strength card. Sometimes number 11 card is a strength card. So you have to be aware of that. And you go by the polarity of the zodiac sign. And just give me a moment. Just looking around. So, rising sign Leo, and we'll leave it there. And see, there goes a priestess. Because this is what I was told when I was doing the card reading to find out birth dates. We had to ask Archangel. So, but not just that, this morning as well. See, this is what I try to teach people. When you're dealing with all of this, you're dealing with energy. And the more you learn how to tap into the energy, a lot of your concerns will go away. But what people do, they try to do everything in their own power, by their own flesh, their own physical, and they actually mess things up. And I did read the letter you wrote me when the two charts, when you gave me the information, when you gave me the birth information. I read that letter, and you did mention that a lot of stuff is physical, fleshly, and that's where people make a mistake with anything spiritual, anything with astrology. So a lot of times when I get a request for a natal chart, the energy that's connected to that person will reach out to me one way or another. And like I said, the video is on both my channels, I believe. I think, yeah, on both my channels, I think I dropped 2 videos today. And one was definitely about the moon and things like that, karma. So I believe that video has a lot to do with these charts, because they may at some point in their lifetime they were some type of priestly class. But you have to remember that a lot of times a royal priest could also be connected as well. Could also be like, if not king, it could still be royal, but it may be king. But now you go right into the money house, just like the person who requested this. It's always about that second house, that money house. And the person who requested that, it's about Taurus, Mars and Taurus. But remember, Taurus rules the second house. And just so everybody knows, Archangel Chamuel is Taurus on the Doreen Virtue card decks. But Taurus energy on the Tarot card deck is the Pope. So there goes the priesthood again. So that's why I say, I tell people over and over again, it's good to get readings. That's wisdom, to get readings. But you also want to make sure you take time out to really listen, because you're going to get hit with a lot of information, and you're just going to go ricochet rabbit right through. Like this is what I mean about the flesh. You're going to zone in on what you want to hear. The only way you're going to program yourself to think correctly is by taking notes and stuff like that. That's how you start reprogramming your mind. Otherwise, let me just give an example. Let's just say you're in a dispute with somebody, and you feel like they have something that you feel like, well, that really should be mine. So you say, oh, I don't want to. I want to do it the right way. I want to do it the right way. So tomorrow at the church service, they're giving a talk on, who really has a right to this. So I'm going to go to the talk, and I'm going to be civil, and I'm going to prove. I'm just going to listen to the talk, and I'm going to prove from the elders that give the talk that this should be mine or whatever. So you'll sit there the whole time, but the motive is wrong, because you're not listening to the information. You're sitting there trying to get anything that'll justify what you believe. So you have to learn how to listen to the information. That's why when I go to somebody's YouTube channel, I open the whole channel up as far as I can open up, and I study it. If it's anybody I think that's teaching anything, I try to open up everything to see what's going on. So it's about the energy that surrounds the situation. Like right now, what I'm saying is it's a priestly energy, because not only did Gabriel kept coming out, but Haniel kept coming out, and she's the high priestess. So when you listen to the whole thing, maybe if you listen to the whole talk that's being given, who does this really belong to? Who really owns this? Then you start to hear other points that make you see things a little differently. And then maybe you can see there's a compromise or whatever. Maybe something could be worked out. But that's because now you're listening, other than going by what you think or what you think the agenda is. Now you're listening. And see, that's how everything really works. Well, that's how everything should work in an ideal world. But unfortunately, we're in a world full of flaws. And so this is why you have broken relationships, and people don't communicate, and they just cheat on each other and all kind of stuff. And they'll still be together, but they're not really, they're not together in the ideal sense of the word. They're more physically together than they are emotionally. Because if they were really emotionally together and stuff like that, they can learn how to talk, work through stuff, and get through stuff. Even stuff that's hard to deal with, because that's the way it was supposed to be done. But that would be, a perfect world. And most of us here on planet Earth, they're going to take the easy way out and act like they did the work. They're going to act like they did the work, but they're really taking the easy way out. But if you really want to benefit from it, you'll do it the way it was designed. So like your doctor says, oh, take it the way we tell you. Don't just take it the way you think it. They take it the way we tell you. Or if you buy a new appliance, they say make sure you listen to the instructions and stuff like that. But most of the time, people just do what they want to. And then if the thing breaks down, then they're furious. Because I work in retail, so I know how it goes. So back to the first house, the ascendant, where the sun went over the horizon when he was born. Leo, 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 Leo. And the first house is how they see your personality, and this is also Aries. But you have to remember, see, you may have a relative that you don't get along with, or whatever the case might be. But in a previous life, they may have needed to be Aries or War or Leo, because they may have actually been out in war. Never know. And sometimes you can kind of know. You get these ideas. So 11 degrees. And he was the one that Hannah came out with. See, you see it right there. Like that 11. See, that's just, like I said, the strength card. But you also have to remember that it could also be the Libra energy, which is the justice card. Because that's how Tarot did it. But in this case, since it's a Leo, we'll just stick with the strength card. But it's still masculine and feminine. Then it goes right over to the moon in Virgo. And that's where the moon is this morning in Virgo. So that's what I'm trying to tell you. When we listen, we hear the universe. When we do what we think, we hear what we want. We're gonna push our way, and then we're gonna go, oh yeah, this is spirit. No, it's not spiritual. It's never spiritual when you're pushing your way. It's your way. It's not spiritual. It's not universe. It's not astrological. It's not universe. It's your way. So you can't do that. And that's why I said I was determined to do what I was told, and I waited. Plus, I had tons of things to do anyway. So even if I tried to push my way, the universe would have been like, nah, you're gonna wait. And that's why I said everything that happened this morning that I talk about in that other video, which I probably emailed it to you if you're on the email list. So it's the two videos. One had the coronavirus on it. That was Tanya Gabriel. And then my video came before that one. So this is definitely Aries Mars. And he's bold. Aries bold. And remember, Leo rules the 5th house. This is fun, children. Creativity. Boldness. You might even say ego. Depends on the Leo. His age. What has he learned? What has he or she learned? And stuff like that. Some Leos may be very egotistical. But some Leos may not be. It just depends on who, what did they learn? How old are they? What did they learn in their lifetime? Like when you study a lion that's leading a pack, when he gets older, he usually goes over by himself. He's sitting over somewhere under a shade or something by himself. And it'll be a little lion that'll come over there and try to play with him or whatever. And all of a sudden you'll hear like, ah! And that little lion will go rolling. Because that big lion has smacked him and knocked him out of. Get out of here. I'm trying to relax, kid. Get out of here. Teaching that little boy a little respect. But when that lion was younger, he would have been the one going through the camp, looking around, starting arguments with people, fighting, and running out by himself, trying to get his own food and stuff like that. So people change. So you can't say all Leos are going to act the same. And that's why people have to realize that. See, Zodiac is good to give you an idea, but you still, like I keep saying, you have to learn how to think. Really think. And sometimes you can't, like I just read it. I just heard Tanya Gabriel said it. You got to be quiet. And I heard Phil Valentine say it too. Sometimes he said, just be quiet. Let the universe talk to you. Stop talking to the universe. And you'll start to get the answers. You also get the answers through your dreams and things of that nature. That's why people say meditating. So that's the first one, the personality going in. But it goes right into the second house, and once again you see Mars. So it's still going to be about Aries aggression, Mars aggression, one way or another. And this is the financial house with Virgo, the earthy house. Now the moon of Virgo is like the Blessed Mother Mary. And remember, Virgo rules the sixth house, which is home. So it's something about home and finances with this man. And some people, when you see Mars in the second house in Virgo, that could be somebody military, affiliated with the military. The moon is always going to be internal, and it's always going to be emotional as well, secretive, mystical. And as I said, with the person who requested these two charts to be read or analyzed, it's the same thing. It's still at mother presence. It's still at mother's presence. And she was very concerned about their financial security, even on the other chart. And I did that chart like a couple of weeks ago. It's open on his channel as well. This is Archangel, Revelations and Prophecies 444, seen and heard on YouTube. So his energies will be tied up to that home security, and his home security through finances, just like the military. Moon sign 9 degrees. Once again, so this is a shaman, like I said, a priest. The tarot card number 9 is a hermit. But even though it's hermit, he does go out in public. But he has his own enlightenment. He goes by that candle, that light he puts in front of his face. So he will go out in public, he'll talk with the public, but he has his own way of thinking. And this can affect the home, but it's just too early to say it yet. We'll see. Because between the first house and the second, it can affect the home. His home. And possibly the home he was born out of or into. Alright, now that's 9 degrees hermit. I'm trying to see what that other number is. Just give me a moment. I'm going to try to pull it up on the other chart. So I'm looking at a copy of the first chart that was taken from. So just give me a moment. Yep, 4. So then that's Aries or the Emperor. See my point? A lot of Aries energy, the Emperor. So he's got his own way of looking at stuff. But still, that Divine Feminine is right there. And that's how she came out. It came out Azrael, number 10, Gabriel, and Hanael. And the Archangel Azrael, Capricorn energy. But that card, not that particular card, but Azrael can also mean ancestors. It even says your loved ones, like your dead loved ones and stuff like that. Just like I told you. So that mother's always there. So now it goes to number 10. See, even 10 is Jupiter, but look how he's doing it with Mars. So he has no problem using force this life or past life, whatever. But he has no problem using force or aggression to make sure he's got money and stuff like that, so that his home is secure. 10 degrees, and they keep showing you the number 14. And that's Sagittarius energy, which is still Jupiter, which is still finance. expansion. So he knows how to get money and then use the money to make expansion. So that's called Temperance card, number 14. That's all about internal change, internal transformation. And now Uranus be coming out of anywhere. 14 degrees again. Still dealing with internal change. And look at that, Pluto. Pluto is 16 degrees. That's the Tower card. So, I used to work for a guy. His family ran a funeral part. They associated with the graveyard. They took care of all people's funeral stuff. And I'm sure he knew how to do other stuff because they knew how to get money. And he had no problem doing that. We could already be very busy, and he would say, "Today we're changing everything around." So he would change everything around. He knew Feng Shui. This was long before I knew what that stuff was. This is like 2006, and we had to stop what we're doing and had to move all that stuff, all his desks, move everything. And he would go through the building and with the sage and clear out stuff. He was deeper than that type of stuff. And him and his family ran a funeral. They ran a whole funeral stuff and everything with the coffins and everything. So you're kind of seeing that here. This guy's not afraid to just change. And like I said, he's going by that inner voice. But that inner voice is that divine feminine. And that divine feminine, that higher self, the divine feminine. Because you have to remember one thing. Everything comes from source. Source is spirit. So no matter how many the personalities are or what they do, at the end they will end up back at source, one way or another. And that's hard to understand when we have all these religious beliefs. But pretty much that's really what it is. So Pluto will transform. And like I said, he's a very inner person. He's very secretive. The moon and Pluto meant that. But remember, the moon and Pluto, or the moon and Scorpio, are all about reincarnation anyway. So he's carrying all those subconscious things in it. All those past lives and all that stuff he knows is in him. And then I will look directly at his 12th house, and for him it's all about family. But we'll deal with that when we get there. So Pluto at 16 degrees, once again Mars, he's not afraid to tear it down. Remember, Mars used to rule Scorpio. Now Pluto does. And then even at number 12, 16 degrees, 12 minutes, that 12 is going to take you back. But in his mind, whatever he's doing it for the family. So that justifies it. And just looking at this house, it doesn't look like he'd be too worried about even if he's taking it from another person trying to make money for their family. He don't care. It's just about his. That's what it looks like. Now I could be wrong about that one, but that's what it looks like. Now, third house is Libra, all about partnership. All about partnership, contracts, relationships, seriousness, business, karma, possibly courtrooms. But that's in the third house. The third house is ruled by Gemini, all about small children, communications, publishing, multitasking, siblings, the brotherhood around you. small distance travel. So his relationship won't be long lasting, not in the third house. And there's nothing else there at that point to say anything. We might get more information as we continue to move forward. But if you notice, his Venus is in the fourth house of love. But remember, Scorpio can be very explosive. But you can tell he's a mystic. And I can pretty much tell you that probably his mom, maybe even his dad, but his mom was also mystical. That's because of the Neptune Scorpio connection. And as you see, look at Neptune, 18 degrees. That's the moon energy, the moon card. And I just got finished telling you that the moon and Scorpio or Pluto is all about past lives and reincarnation. Now, a person has to be very careful because whenever you have a moon Pluto or a moon Scorpio energy, you could have a problem with evil spirits. So that's why I say a lot of times when you see like a shaman and stuff, they have a lot of crystals around their neck. They have a lot of necklaces. And these people carry all that stuff. But that's to give them power. If you want to, you can call it magic, whatever you want to call it. But it also helps them ward off evil spirits. And like I say, even if you look at the Catholic Church and stuff, they got like beads and all that. The shamans got the same stuff. Well, there's a reason why you see people with crystals and beads and all that. So he just has to be very careful. So his Venus is 1 degree. That is the Magician card. And that is Mercury energy. Mercury energy. And once again, he's got good fortune there. That's called part of fortune at 7 degrees. And I always told you that 7 degrees is the Chariot card. Chariot card. And it's Cancer energy. Now remember, the fourth house ruled by Cancer is all about teenage to adult education, land, property, real estate, ancestors and family, vehicles and travel, the mother and the subconscious mind, Imam Coeli. And it could be about the heart and healing. I usually say that for the fourth house. But in his case, it's strongly his mom's. You see, wherever there's money, because part of fortune is about money too. Not money only, but good things. It's all about good things. Part of fortune, good fortune. But that's the mom. That's the mom. And the implication in this chart is he would definitely wail on you if he thought you did anything to his mother. So then he's got the mysticism of Neptune. But again, Scorpio, all this stuff is secretive. You would never, ever know. You would never, ever know. And if you notice, his Neptune, planet Neptune, is 18 degrees, and there's 11 again. So now in this particular house, when you see 11 again, and you say, well, is it Leo or is it Libra? Which one is it? And I would say we really don't know, but Venus kind of, because remember, Venus rules Taurus and Libra. So that 11 might now be Libra energy. Might be. And I'm kind of thinking that Taurus energy has a connection with his mom. Because when you go opposite, there's Taurus and then there's money. There's money again, Libra. So anywhere where that mom sends the bee, it looks like he's being blessed. And this again why the High Priestess came out. Because you have to remember, when I was born, my tarot card was the High Priestess. Now, my true north node is in Cancer. And like I said, Cancer is many things, but at the end of the day, it's predominantly mom. predominantly mom. Unless there's something on your chart saying elsewise. Because, you might have been born, somebody might have been born without either parent. But as a general rule, whenever you see Cancer, that's mom. Moon, Cancer, mom. Generally speaking. But it's still, like I said, Scorpio in the fourth house is going to be, these people probably have had past lives together, but it could also be a house of a lot of turmoil, power struggles, all the things that you should notice in the eighth house. And I always make sure anybody that requests the natal chart reading, they get the free report, because it's a lot of activity in that eighth house. Very supernatural. It could also be very karmic. Now moving on to the fifth house, yet again, another fire sign. But again, whenever you see like a Sagittarius in the fifth house, again, this is a very this person has a lot of supernatural gifts. Sagittarius is like a can really transmit and receive, especially when it's in the fifth house. Now, this is where the suspicions start, but maybe not. Because now his sun sign is Sagittarius, but it's in the fifth house, so that's still Leo, and his ascendant is Leo. And again, at 4 degrees, still at fiery Aries energy. So you can tell he's a very fiery person. And 26 again is that spiritual, but they're showing you that he gets a lot of information internally. Now that's sun energy. And Lilith at 8 degrees. Now because she's next to the sun, I would still say that's Leo energy or the strength card. But Lilith can be very keeping to herself as well. And at number 12, pretty much. But see, you gotta remember when you look at number 12, which is really the hangman, it's Neptune energy. And then when you go back to Neptune, it keeps going back to the family. So that's when you got to be cautious of that. And then you see Juno as well. So the main thing we're really going to be concerned about is Lilith in this fifth house. We're going to be concerned about that. And I'm going to see, because I know I really recently, not when I say recently, it might have been a month or so ago, or a little longer. But we got to see if we still got those notes on that. If not, we got to go online. Yep. Same with I did this a while ago. It's Lilith in Sagittarius, and it's Lilith in the fifth house. It's right here. So we're gonna see what the experts say, because I kind of remember, but and just give me a moment because I want to take all these Liliths and put them in a folder. All right. I'm looking over this information for Lilith in the fifth. So once again, they say Lilith, and this is I remember doing this and going over the whole Michael Jackson thing. And they say Lilith in the fifth, because all that stuff is hidden, it can come out in the fifth house. It's just having Lilith in the fifth house can complicate a person's recreational expression. This person may have disharmonic memories. This person may be feeling malice, hate, jealousy. So they're saying if he was as a child, if they thought he was weird or whatever, but it's not limited. It's not just limited to your childhood or your kids you grew up with, or kids you went to school with, and they didn't like you, whatever. It could be deeper than that. Because like I said, even on the chart, you see it. You see the family, family, family. So the person could be walking around with that internally because he hasn't healed or dealt with it. So that means when he goes into the fifth house activities, he's still got a lot of inner darkness, inner anxiety, inner anger, inner. He's still carrying it, and so he takes that and directs it to who's ever he's dealing with in the 5th house. They also say this type of person may try to show others what they have because that makes them, that's like their self-esteem. But this is in the 5th house. And this person will, and I already said that in the 2nd house because you could see it. They said this person will use any type of means, whatever his agenda is, whatever he wants, he'll use it. You know, he'll do whatever to get it. He doesn't really care about whether it was right or wrong and all that. And again, we're still talking about the 5th house. Lilith in the 5th house. And they say he's real good at learning how to get someone to admire him. Barrett said very seductive in the 5th house. Strong sensuality. But can become very jealous. Now they say the 5th house usually deals with the first child. I'm not sure if this person is the first child or not. But Lilith in the 5th house can also cause discomfort with the children. They can have a love-hate relationship with the children. They'll play mind games on a kid, which isn't good. And they'll kind of like, they say in the 5th house, Lilith in the 5th house is kind of like a pathological. Like 1 minute they'll act like they, love their kids, but the very next minute they're blaming them for everything. Oh, these sacrifices I had to make for you, or and Lilith in the 5th can be very promiscuous sexually. Now we got to go back. So when you're dealing with the things we're dealing with, anger management and all that, it's always, all the stuff has been in the home sector. You saw it yourself. Virgo is the home 2nd house. You got Mars. They got all kind of crazy stuff there. Uranus is somebody coming out of it, and they even call Uranus and Aquarius the oddball of the zodiac. Like the stuff they said about Michael Jackson, Wacko and all that stuff, Wacko Jacko and all that stuff. And then you got the 12th house with the family there. So but see, if you notice, I didn't say anything to now. As soon as I saw that Lilith in the 5th, and I saw, what do you got there, Juno. But see, Juno in the 5th, well, Juno is somebody wanting a serious relationship or a serious relationship. Or who is that going to be with? Because the 5th house is really about kids. It's fun and it's kids. But then you can go to the 3rd house. The 3rd house is also about kids. And look who's there, Libra. You see my point? So you can't keep going past it and acting like you don't see it. So that's why I wanted to pull up this paperwork to see again what the experts are saying. And Lilith in the 5th can also lead to dangerous games, because this person is really playing games. So they say it'll be secret activities with people, because Lilith in the 5th is a strong desire for attention and the flirt and high sexuality. And they say Lilith in the 5th may actually like hurting people. So they say they advise this person to review their childhood to see where any hurt or pain came from, so that they can heal in the 5th house. So they say he's going to take subconscious revenge in the 5th house. So they say a person with Lilith in the 5th house will have strong urges to cheat. And Lilith in the 5th house is somebody who's actually fantasizing about pain, torture, or even rape. And this is pretty much, I'm at astrocodex.com, Lilith in the 5th. So they say this is also a person that's like going to be a sexual beast. That's the word he used. Say this person won't really have emotions. Like it'll be nothing that'll say, oh, this is wrong, I shouldn't do this. And they say this is going to be like cruel sex with no feeling. Like no feeling if you're hurting the person or not. So they say a person with Lilith in the 5th. Now remember, I'm at astrocodex.com. They're going to have a tendency toward child abuse, or they're going to have an inner battle with paranoid wishes to do so. So, like I said, you can see it from the beginning. But I don't want to say, oh, you know, every time I turn this guy on, he did. No, I try to wait and I try to speak on it. But it is prevalent. Everybody checks the statistics. Like somebody, I just saw a statistic where they said like modern marriages end within 7 years. But I thought it was a lot sooner than that. Like they say, a high percentage of marriages end within 7 years of the marriage, and I thought it was like higher than that, like at least by 3. If they make it past 2, but at least by 3. But if they make it to 7 in this day and time, that's really not bad. Also, Lilith in the 5th, you have to be careful of gambling. Now, Sagittarius in the 5th is somebody, like I said, they like to travel, they like to learn, they like to move. Could even be long distance traveling. With Sagittarius in the 5th, the person might have a relative, like a, a foreign relative, but the relative may have children that looks like him, and he might have like a connection with him. And the reason why I'm saying him because it's a male natal chart. And they say Lilith in the 5th might even cheat, might want to gamble and cheat. But they keep saying it's dangerous. Like either way, because it's Lilith in the 5th, whether it's a sexual situation is dangerous, relationship situation is dangerous, or even if they start to gamble, it may become dangerous because he might get caught cheating or something like that. So they say, in generally, these people get caught. So they're saying Lilith in the 5th is a lot of misbalance. Now he's saying the best way to deal with Lilith in the 5th is to actually, find somebody who maybe likes that type of stuff, dark stuff and stuff like that, and then you could do it with them. And he said you dissolve it. He also said acting. You could act out these characters and stuff. But to me, if you give fuel to anything, it's just going to flame the fire. So you have to be careful. All right, so that's why it's scary, because then it's there. But see, that's why we talked about Michael Jackson. See, because his father beat him up and all that. He didn't really have a childhood and all that. And then, so he was trying to control the situation. He was trying to find somebody that he thought he could control. And then, unfortunately, then that sped out, because then that sped out to like pedophilia or homosexuality. And a lot of people argue whether it happened or not. But now I'm looking at her chart, fifth house, the person who requested this, and you see Juno. Well, Juno almost made it. Yeah, Juno made it 0 degrees, but it's still with Libra. So we're still dealing with Libra a little bit in both of these. That's why I say the more you do these things, the more you start to see patterns. That's why I go they. Because you could tell somebody wrote all this stuff down for this to happen this way. All right. So this is definitely secret sin. Give you 8 degrees, which in this case is probably the lion, the strength card, which is a twin flame card, a couple card, and then it's 12. And that could be either the hangman, Neptune energy, or it's the 12th house, which is still about secrets. Both of them are about secrets. Then it goes right over to Juno, serious relationship. But it's 20 degrees, which again is Pluto energy or the judgment. And see, that's the scary part. Because when you go back to Pluto, Pluto's at 16 degrees, which is about beating somebody at war, and it's in Virgo, the home. You understand? And it goes 16 degrees 12, so it's 12 again. Still dealing with secrets. And then even Mercury is at 20 degrees. No, 25 degrees. So 25 is usually law. Usually. And like we always said, Pallas is usually a soulmate asteroid at 27 degrees. And then it gives you that at 11 again. And it would still probably be the strength card, Leo. Because the dominant polarity in this house, the fifth house, is fire or sun energy. But they gave you 11 because they just did 25 legal and then 11 legal. So once again, it's still implying, something that's being done that's illegal, and it's gonna be a judgment because of it. And then the so-called soulmate or twin flames vertex cross makes it right into Capricorn at 0 degrees. Now, why is it so important? Because all this stuff is karmic. And Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. So they're showing you 0 degrees, number 10, Jupiter energy, making it into the 6th house of home. But then this Capricorn or karmic. But again, that's a job. So whenever you have Capricorn in your 6th house, it's usually some type of career and reputation, or some type of job. And the 6th house is all about health, healing, service. Like I said, even somebody in the military would have a chart like this. Have a house like this. Service, small animals, small children. And then the nurturer is Kyrus. That a nurturer is there. So somebody's being a nurturer here. Now, is that the mother? Maybe, maybe not. 17 degrees. Uranus or Aquarius energy. The star. So whoever this person is, they're kind of like an inspiration for him. And C7 again. Says that's mom. That's mom. I told you. Mom Cancer. So the person is maybe Capricornian and see, this is the home. So it's the Capricornian energy there. Let's just say that's dad. But he always had mom for nurturing. And then she's right next to the 10 because I'm saying that his financial blessings are directly connected to him and his mom. Six, 7th house, Aquarius. Now Aquarius, see the 7th house is supposed to be about serious, but see Aquarius doesn't really want to be serious. But that usually happens because why? Because of that Saturn presence. Once somebody's been through a lot of either meanness or abuse, whatever it is, then they want that freedom. Because anything that makes them feel locked in, they don't want it. And that's why I said that's why some people Aquarius also means like, not traditional. Not traditional, not even it doesn't even have to be approved by society. You're still gonna do it anyway. And sometimes people do that, they're just rebelling because when they think of like a abusive father or parent, they just see all authority that way at some point. Nobody's gonna tell me what to do ever again. Nobody's ever gonna force me, and they just go through that whole thing. And that's why I said it's always a need for healing. And if you see, it's coming right from the home. Coming right from the home. 2nd house. And 28 degrees is always, like I said, extremities. So it's almost implying that one of the reasons why he became Aquarius was just to go against Saturn. Because Saturn and Aquarius don't get along. And he's still a very mystical person, very psychic person, because when you get to his 8th house, there is Pisces. So this could be an infat, supernatural stuff, psychic, clairvoyant. Could even see things happening through dreams and or live premonitions when like they're just standing right there and all of a sudden they see something that happens. So he's got all these gifts. That's why I said that's that whole priest stuff that I was showing. And remember, the moon used to rule Pisces. Even on the tarot card, the moon card is Pisces energy. But now they say Jupiter rules Pisces and the moon rules Cancer, the mom, the family. So now here's Vesta again. Now Vesta's see this is a sexual. So that's why you got to make sure you read your. That's why I was telling you, study. Cause I did one chart and she like, oh, I'm ready. I can't wait for the second one. And then she like the very next day, oh, well, how's it going? I'm like, hold up, chill out, study. So that's on your 8th house, because your whole family is like 8th house. It's gonna be 8th house. You got to make sure you understand that. See, this is the priesthood, but it's a sexual priesthood. Whenever you see like Vesta in the 8th house with Pisces, it's spiritual, and this is why people will never understand it, and you can't expect people to understand stuff like that. But that's why they do the things they do, because it's a they're like I said, y'all don't understand. Y'all see it in your news all the time, and this is why I get so mad, because y'all are so quick to go with bubblegum astrology and all the foolishness, but y'all never want to understand the whys of anything. You could care less about the whys, and that's the most important part. So that's why you're always going to have children around the priesthood, because this is what you're looking at right here. This is stuff that's been going on and going on and going on. And then why do you think when you read the Bible how they say that they're sacrificing their children to the fire? But you don't understand these were priests doing this. That was part of the whole worship. Now I'm not saying that's right or wrong, but it's what they do. And this is why you see this guy has a strong fiery. He has a strong fiery presence on his chart, and he also has a strong presence of children. Because Vesta is all about the fire and the hearth. Vesta is all about that young priestess, that young priestess or that young priest. But they all got raped or killed and stuff like that. And this stuff is going on and going on and going on and going on and going on. And this is what I'm trying to tell you. And the reason why it continues to go on, because everybody wants to stay dumbed down. And the moment they hear one or two things they don't want to hear, they just click, go somewhere else. But then when something happens to one of their loved ones, they want the whole world to stop. Oh, how could this have happened? It happened because nobody gave an F about it like you didn't. Now it happened. So once again, you see the number 8, and this is the 8th house. Now you're asking, is it Leo or is it Libra? And that's the ironicity of his chart. Whoever did his chart is trying to tell you, in this case, it's like almost the same thing. Because all I got to go on is Vesta, and Vesta is like the hearth of the fire. So I would say probably that would be like the strength card, the lion and the female, but who, or the lion and the lover, whoever you want to do it. But who's to say that it's not Libra? The number 23 is a lot like well, that's also his true north node. The number 23 is a lot like Uranus. It could actually be pretty charming at first, but it can change on you. And see that he's got healing here as well. See what I'm saying? Now I told you this is 8th house is about spiritual sex. Now when you go, Pisces rules the 12th house, and they go family right there. Then you got 14, which is healing again. And just give me a moment. So once again, temperance, internal changing, and that is all that eighth house is all about. But it's all about sharing. It is a highly spiritual house, highly sexual house, highly metaphysical house, highly prophetic house, spiritual. And then 10 means even Jupiter expansion. 10 is like Jupiter energy, the Wheel of Fortune card, and 14 is Sagittarius. Jupiter rules Sagittarius. Remember, like I said, Jupiter used to rule Pisces. Jupiter used to rule. Now Jupiter rules Sagittarius. So when you see a natal chart like that, that's probably because a person lived many lifetimes. So on his chart, you see those different astrological systems that those past civilizations were using. This is what I'm saying. This is something that's been going on for a long ass time. And this is why you hear about it all the time. Fire sign again, but it's 29 degrees in the ninth house. Yeah, but see, that makes perfect sense to me. Because the ninth house is higher law. This is the feds. And if you listen to me, you've heard me talk about that. Because any form of, depending on what the charges are, that's going to federal court. That's going to a higher court. That's not going to a lower court. And all I guess it all depends on what state you live in, though. I'm trying to look it up online. And it might have been what acts were done. That might make a difference and stuff like that. It may still be handled by state, but it might depend on what actions are done. And also, like I said, where was it done? That's going to matter. Location. Was there any traveling involved with the child? Did you cross state lines? All that stuff is going to matter. And if it was just Aries in the ninth house, well, the ninth house is your higher self, higher education, higher courts, foreigners, foreign language, long distance travel, philosophy, class, higher education. If I didn't say, I think I did. Religion, philosophy, anything with culture or class. Also on broadcasting, publishing. The ninth house is a lot like the third house. Third house, but it's just, like I said, higher up. So Aries in the ninth, like I said, is just aggressive. That's why I said this guy might even like to travel and stuff like that. But again, you gotta actually seeing what we're seeing. Why? What is the aggression to like to travel and why? Because Sagittarius rules the ninth house, and Sagittarius is in the fifth house that deals with like children and fun and pleasure and stuff like that. So that's what I'm saying. That's the type of stuff that be definitely would be federal. It all depends on what was done to the child, what acts were done. Did you transport that child, and was the child underage, and blah blah blah. Because even if a person said, well, you can't charge him that charge because the parents consented, but they'll say, yeah, but the parents consented, but they didn't know what he was doing, so then they're still going to charge him that charge. And see, then they go to number 5, and I want to make sure that's 5. I want to double check. And what people got to understand when you see charts like this and stuff, a lot of that has to do with past lives as well. It could be this life, it could be a past life, but if it's there, it's some truth to it. Right, so 29 degrees, 5. Now, once again, the ninth house can be a highly spiritual house. Number 5 really is the Pope card. Taurus energy is the Pope card. But 5 could also be anything Leo or the 5th house, just so you know. And it's interesting how it leads right to Taurus. And like that's just horrible. Like the implication is like child trafficking. And you know, the funny thing about it, even though that sounds horrible, but it's a lot of people getting caught for that in like Christian churches right now. See, this is stuff. If you just go by fake news, like media news, you're not getting the truth. That's why I said sometimes you gotta listen to Mark Taylor, because sometimes he'll read a list. Now, Mark Taylor, the official channel of Mark Taylor's on YouTube. But you would be surprised how many people who you. These are the same people. If you were going to church with, you sit right next to them, and they're getting busted now. Federal charges, like I'm trying to tell you, ninth house charges, federal charges on child trafficking. And Aries it's not just Aries because it's mean, it's violent, but it's an aggressive to do it. Aggressive energy to do it. See that it says this says child sex trafficking justice.gov. See, it didn't say justice.state. It said justice.gov. See, that's higher ninth house prosecuting. Whenever I see stuff like that, I think about Scarface. He was one of the most ruthless criminals because he had been through so much in the country he came from. And that's what made that movie such a great movie. Not all that stuff he was doing, because I'm not into that, so I could care less about all that. But I'm into good writing, like when you really write a good movie. And it was like towards the end of the movie. And once again, this is ninth house stuff, because they were supposed to stop a person who was going to testify against their gang, their affiliation. So they had to kill this guy by any means necessary before he got before Congress. See, all that is higher. That's ninth house stuff. And even when you got the number 5 card, the hero font, he could very well be like a high-ranking politician. Because this see, all this stuff is on the border of the 10th house. And the 10th house is like the higher pope, like a high-ranking pope. But medium coeli is the same thing. Because medium coeli really is naturally in the 10th house. So that's why when you see medium coeli in the 9th house, there's a reason for it. And so that was their job was to stop this guy before he testified before Congress. Because if he did, they knew it was all over with. Because Congress was going to get the military to break their gang up, their affiliation. So everybody's ready in that car. And it was just sweet how he wrote it. Because Al Pacino's character never got along with that guy. They never got along from day one. And in fact, that was the guy that set him up. So now they're in a car and they're supposed to do a job together. And anybody that's ever really done any mob stuff and stuff like that, or any gang stuff, they know that stuff happens in real life. You'll be right in the car with somebody you don't get along with. Now you're supposed to trust this guy when you know he already sold you out. So there's a good chance he's not gonna make it out either, because you're gonna kill him. So you got all this just waiting to see what happens. You're waiting to see what happens, and you think it's a simple assignment. Just pull up to the car, whack the guy, and get out of there. It's not a big deal. So they get up close to the car, and Al Pacino's character looks inside that car and sees those kids. Now you would think that as mean as his character was, and as violent and ruthless as his character was, you would think he could give an F left about the kids and the family. Who cares? That's what you think's going to happen. And all of a sudden, you hear this ruthless character say, we do this later. No way. No kids. I don't kill kids. That jump was crazy. Nobody would have expected it. That's what made that a great writing. And then the guy that they don't get along with anyway, that guy's like, man, you better kill him. You already know what's going to happen to you. He's already like, man, I don't like you. I was going to kill you anyway today. After we killed these kids, I was going to kill you anyway. Now you're going to mess the mission up. And they got into the whole thing. And so he almost dies as a hero because he saves the kids. But unfortunately for their affiliation, that guy does testify before Congress or wherever he testified. And they're going to send a government to break them, the gang up and all that. And that was it. And that was the whole thing in the movie. But there was still more writing after that. The whole thing with his sister and his best friend and all kind of crazy stuff. That was a really, really great movie. That was definitely a Shakespearean movie. That was definitely a Shakespearean movie. So now you got to see, that's a karmic degree. 29 is a karmic degree. And this is on the borderline of the 10th house, which is also a karmic house. Very 10th. So all this stuff is karmic. It's almost like it's payback time in the 9th house. But it's still aggressive. So this is what we want. We want 29 degrees Aries, but also 29 degrees Sagittarius. And I just got to pull it up with my find command if everything's working. (29 degrees Aries), an intense personal cycle that causes physical change. So that's pretty much what they get for that. But we've been talking about inner transfer. But this is what I say. It may have been inner transformation in the other houses. Because remember, we told you the Sagittarius was about the Temperance card, about inner transformation. But it's here in the 9th house that it becomes public. (29 degrees in Sagittarius). An intense spiritual situation It's about belief systems. This may be a far from home situation. And I'm just going to see if there's anything new online. Okay, now this is Astrology. A planet at the 29th degree immediately becomes your soul planet. It is the most mature and natural energy for you so often. People with a planet at 29 degrees. But see, they're not saying Aries though. They're just going 29 degrees. So that doesn't. You got to make sure you apply it to where it's at. That's like somebody saying, okay, everybody can have pizza today. And you're going, yay, pizza. But then they say the location. Yeah, everybody that lives on 7th Avenue, 13, 15, 7, and then it doesn't apply to you. So you got to remember that. That's why I say you got to slow down and really read and really think. Because otherwise, it's just how you're gonna get what you want out of it and swear you're doing the right thing. You're so far from it. This is Aries individual degrees, and I don't believe they're gonna give me what I'm looking for. And I saw this before, so let's go down to 29 degrees. Now, we're still gonna look at one more thing. See, when you go 29 degrees Mars, it says something intense happening regarding energy and or sexual desires. And that's more in harmony with the rest of the chart. But the implication is it may get better. Why? Well, it can get better when something is exposed. Because once something is exposed, you can actually do something about it. Medium quality is also part of his true north node. So remember that MC is part of, see that little horseshoe right across to the left? That's true north node. And see, his true north node has no aura. That's how you know this was bad. Whenever you have a true north node with no aura, because that's the only thing in your chart that really should have an aura, is your true north node. Looks like a little horseshoe. So when your true north node doesn't have aura, that means this person has been through some dysfunctional stuff like that. So now you see where it's at. It's in Gemini. So it's all about kids. See? So what they're saying when I say they, the people that put all the numbers and all the arrangement, the artist of the universe, the creator or creator, whatever you want to say. So he's here to address it. But once he gets to the ninth house and goes through whatever they're going to put him through, they say it's going to actually help him betterment. Because see, his biggest flaws were everything was a secret. Everything was a secret. But it will become big. That's why, if you know about the Bible, David did a sin that he thought nobody was going to find out about it. But it was a horrible sin. He even committed murder. So God said, because you did it in the dark, you did it in deep, I'm going to do it in the light. So he had David's son not only overthrow David's kingdom and chase David out of his own kingdom, but David took all of David's son took all of David's concubines up to the top of the palace where everybody could see it and had sex with all his concubines. That's one of the most disrespectful. That's like some rapper do something. That's the most disrespectful thing you can do to somebody. David's the king. So it is almost at the top of his chart. So it will be exposed. But that will be the beginning of his healing. And that's why he's here. That MC is part of the True North Node. Now you go into his 10th house, which is still about money, or the second house. But remember, Taurus is also about sensuality and sexuality. And Jupiter retrograde usually represents a belief system. A belief system. But let's look that up again, just to make sure. And the reason why I said again, because I've looked it up many times before, but we just need to make sure this is all about a belief system. Because sometimes a person gets into a belief system that causes them to make bad mistakes. And remember, Jupiter rules Sagittarius, so wherever Sagittarius is on the chart, whatever I said about Sagittarius is going to have something to do with this house right here. So Jupiter and Saturn are social planets. And they said Jupiter can affect a person in a very holistic way. See, holistic healing. And how I feel, I think it's the mother primarily. It's the mother's really working with them. The mother energy. So this is all about reevaluating ethics. See, ethics. See, if you come from a past where nothing mattered, like during wartime, it is what it is. I mean, like even if you got like civil riots, like you best believe, like if things got bad where you're at, I don't care how rich you are or where you're at. If things got bad that the powers that be thought they had to take it over, you best believe it'd be different. You could get a knock on your door or whatever, and they're letting you know they're coming in, and they'll come in, they'll take food, they'll take whatever the fuck they want from you. Because I've lived through riots, like 1960 riots out here. They're almost as bad as the criminals. When it gets really, really bad, it's just that way, and it could get worse than that. The people that you think are authorities, they'll be the ones raping and robbing, and they'll never talk about it. Like after it's all over, it's not like they're going to talk about it. And if you talk about it, you could be risking your life. So that Jupiter retrograde is going to have him questioning his spiritual beliefs, laws, what's really acceptable, what's not. See, this is all part of his healing. And that's why it's in Gemini, because he got to view children differently after that. Because before, he may have viewed them as easy prey. And that's funny how that whole Pope thing, the priest kept showing up. That priest energy kept showing up. Now, when you have a Jupiter retrograde on your chart, be careful of traveling. Luggage might get lost. Your means of transportation may develop mechanical problems. And this is anytime. It doesn't have to be when you're traveling. It can be anytime. Somewhere in his life, he may have done that. He said, I'm going to go. It's a short stop. I'll be right back. But even though it was a short stop, something major happened. Because that's that whole Gemini Sagittarius thing going on. So Jupiter retrograde can also be somebody who likes science, philosophy. He's looking for the deeper meaning in life. Because again, this is still in Gemini. And Gemini, like I said, I already told you what's in the third house. Like I said, creativity, publishing, everything I said is in there. And a Jupiter retrograde is a person who may be kind of spiritual, but they want to be able to prove it by physical means. Like me, I could be way more intuitive if I wanted to, but I choose not to. Like I want to be able to show you. Because how a person's mind works, like I said, a lot of times they just want answers. So they really don't necessarily want to hear all the A, B, C, D, E, and they don't want to hear all that. They just want answers. But sometimes as time goes by, I'm not saying everybody will, but some people will go back to the charts. And they'll be able to see it better. Because now they calm down. Now they've calmed down. Maybe they're a little bit more mature now. And they've been doing this for a while now, so now it's a little bit easier to understand. So they said, no, in a past life, he may have been persecuted because he spoke what was on his mind, but by him speaking whatever his truths, his spiritual beliefs, it caused problems for other people. And also caused persecution for him, which is why he doesn't want to speak now. But it's funny because Gemini is the speaker. Like, that is the third house, is about communication. So he may even have to change the way he communicates and what he communicates about, or his belief system. And remember, yeah, that's in the 10th house. So that's like I'll wait till I get back up there. I want to make sure, but I'm pretty sure it's in the 10th house. That's the karmic house. So he has to learn to tap into his intuition because that's where mama's at. And anybody that knows the high priestess, she's always telling you, listen to me. Listen to your intuition. Meditate more. Listen to me. Listen to me. And there's always a fight going on between it. Because a lot of times, and like I said, some of the stuff, like I said, I know for a fact, a lot of offers I got, I just won't take. Just for whatever reason. You could say spiritual reasons. You could say religious reasons. Plus, like I said, me, I'm a sun sign. So I'm faithful to the light. A lot of that other stuff is like more unknown darkness, mysteries, and stuff like that. I try to stay away from that. Well, they are encouraging him to meditate more. So that's all going on in the 10th house, which is karmic. Now, the difference between Jupiter retrograde and all the other planets that go retrograde, when all the other planets go retrograde, it usually means the opposite of when it's direct. Now with Jupiter, wherever you see Jupiter on your chart, you can still have good fortune and make money. Just because Jupiter is retrograde, it has to do with your belief system, what you believe, addressing your belief system. It has nothing to do with your finances. Anywhere you see Jupiter on your chart, it's definitely financial. So now as you see, 10th house, 2nd house, and the 4th house all related to this adventure, because that's the type of pyramid that's in there. And both of them really, because he's got really 2 pyramids, and both of them are really about belief system. But the other one's more spiritual, but it's still belief system, and it's the home. So like I said, one triangle is the fight to overthrow the improper belief system. The second triangle is the overthrow, because now it's spiritual, now it's a belief system, and it's still going to affect the home. And if it affects the home, it should also affect the family. So that's them two triangles. So you see his true north node is 23 degrees and 10 minutes. That 10 is good fortune, because that's what he's got to get to. And then he'll be able to use communications. He'll be able to get along with children. He'll be able to get along with his siblings, the brotherhood or neighbors. He'll be there. He was always creative, but he'll be better broadcasting. So that's why he's here. So he's got a karmic debt to fill. So if he does get exposed or whatever for what I'm talking about, it's actually be a good thing. And that's why I try to tell people, this is why you need your natal chart, because I feel sorry for you if you get exposed and don't know this, because you're gonna think it's the worst day in your life. Especially when they catch your ass, they're gonna be telling you you're gonna be in jail for the rest of your life. They're gonna rot in jail. You son of a bitch. You know how they do you? They do you you treat you like a piece of shit. But it could be a good thing if it's gonna be that type of change. And they'll be able to help others. 12th house, we pretty much did explain the 12th house. Like I keep saying, whenever you see 25, you know that means law. And we already showed you why it's going to be law. And then but that's number 1, the magician, or the why do you think that's there? Number 1, that Mercury card, magician in the 12th house. What did I just tell you? His true north node is to speak. Mercury rules Gemini. That's why he's here, to go through this little karmic thing and then be a speaker for it. And it's going to improve his family, which I just showed you through the pyramid, through the triangle. So the 12th, Cancer in the 12th house, because those secrets have to come out in order for his betterment. And like a 25, like I said, law, either law, a universal law is still 25, but 25 could also be legal law as well. But it could also be spiritual law. And all that is in the 12th house. Buildings, the law, courthouses, prisons, but any building, churches. Like after he gets through these bumps, it's pretty good. He's just got to get through the bumps. So I'm going to pull it up. I'm going to see what it says for 23 degrees Gemini. Alright, I guess this is it. Let me see. Because I was multitasking, so I wasn't even really looking. I just hit the button and then I looked up. It was right there. Like, is that it? Yeah, let me do it this way. Plus, because I told I was trying to make a decision, but I'll talk about that in a minute. Alright, 23 degrees Gemini. Three fledgling in a nest high in a tree. Well, it does represent the 3rd house. And 3 can be the number for children and represents the 3rd house. 29 degrees Gemini, children skating over a frozen village pond. So that's all they give you. That's why I don't always read this, because sometimes it does hit home and sometimes it doesn't. Or it has like an abstract meaning. Alright, so what I'm going to do, because I looked at the time, there's only 1 hour 40 minutes. So I'll send this to her because, like I said, she's been waiting. I'll send this to her and then I'll do the second one. I'll do the second one in a different video. All right, I'm out.